water, earth, fire, air. Long ago, the four nations lived together in harmony. Then, everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked.
The new live-action remake of Avatar: The Last Airbender is finally here. Man, that feels good to say. Say what you want about the show, but any day we get new Avatar content, it's a massive W. As I'm sure many Avatar fans did, I used to watch the original animated show on Nickelodeon as a kid, and now I'm in college making this video and getting to see these characters brought to life again. It's pretty awesome. And man, did I want to love this show. On the surface, it has everything it needs to be amazing. It made sure to avoid every mistake that the previous live-action adaptation did wrong, and do the original material justice. I'll give the show credit where it's due. This won't be a video hating on the show for no reason. This will be an honest review. There's a lot to like about this live-action remake, but not enough to save the show. The good. Again, let's give credit where it's due. One of the clear standouts is the cast. Generally speaking, I thought a majority of the characters were casted well. Ian Owsley as Sokka was phenomenal. He both looked and sounded like Sokka. I know there was an uproar on the internet when it was announced that Sokka wouldn't have the sexist elements his character has at the start of the show. Yes, in the animated show, this was a key component of his arc. He doesn't respect female warriors, and during his Kyoshi warrior arc, he dons their makeup, their armor, their traditions, he trains with them, and he grows as a character, becoming more mature and open-minded. I wasn't as mad as some when I learned they were removing this element of his character, but nonetheless, I still wish it was thrown in there. However, in the live-action adaptation, this absence means a void needs to be filled, and this allows for his role as protector of the Southern Water Tribe to be highlighted. Ian Owsley does a great job of portraying Sokka as a boy pretending to be a man. He wants to do everything in his power to protect his tribe, and specifically Katara. They make a clear emphasis in the show that the reason he doesn't want Katara to waterbend is because he doesn't want the Fire Nation to view her as a threat. He doesn't want to put her in danger. This is not to say this idea wasn't in the original, but it's a key part of his character in the live-action remake. He has to come to the realization that he can't protect Katara forever, and it's her destiny to be a waterbender. Some other notable castings include Gordon Cormier as Aang and Dallas Liu as Zuko. The entire main cast was well casted and well acted. CGI. Before you click off the video, yes, the CGI sucked in this show. CGI will be in both categories as it succeeds in some regards but also heavily fails. The CGI for Appa was phenomenal. I love the look they went for, managing to make him appear real but maintain a cartoonish look to him. Same goes for Momo. Additionally, the CGI for many of the establishing shots of important locations looked great. I mean, come on, look at this. The CGI also surprisingly looked really good when it came to bending effects. I thought all four elements looked realistic and felt powerful. I do want to put a heavy emphasis on almost here though. In almost every bending sequence, the effects looked pretty good. There are definitely moments when you are taken out of it as an audience due to the poor effects. The bad. Yeah, that's about it for the good. Before watching this show, I wouldn't believe you if you told me that the show has excellent casting and the CGI for most fight scenes is great, yet the show still manages to be lackluster. How can they succeed in these two crucial areas yet still not be a good show? The CGI. As I mentioned, for all the good that the CGI does in this show, it also hurts it. The background shots in a majority of the shots looked atrocious. It was clear the actors were standing in front of a green screen or LED wall. The establishing wide shots that encompass the entirety of a location looked beautiful, but when you zoom in and are following a character move into space or complete an action, the background completely takes you out. It's so obvious it's not real. The live-action adaptation of One Piece used a lot of real sets. This is something that Avatar did not do, and it makes all the difference. I mean, just look at some of these sets from the live-action One Piece. Notice how nobody complained about the background not looking real in the One Piece remake. I understand it's impossible to build a set piece for every set, but as we have seen time and time again, real is always better. The music. In this category, Netflix is entirely to blame. The show had the most boring and dull music pieces during climactic moments in the show. When I complain about the music, I don't mean the show didn't use enough of the original soundtrack. Spoiler alert, it didn't. But as mentioned with the CGI, the use of generic music takes viewers out of the immersion. Netflix is to blame for this because the score sounds like what you would hear in any bad Netflix original show. It was so unoriginal, something that you have heard before, and nothing that speaks Avatar. I'm serious, if I played the Avatar remake score next to a score from an underperforming Netflix original show, you couldn't tell the difference. The pacing. I don't include the pacing because of the number of episodes. In the original animated show, there were 20 episodes in the first season, all primarily 30 minutes. The live action has 8 one-hour-long episodes. When you do the math, it's a lot closer than you think. The show has plenty of time to develop its characters and create emotions. However, the show just flat out feels rushed. I feel as though we just fly through important beats and moments. The emotional payoff is far less because of the poor pacing, and the show relies on viewers' knowledge of the original to drive home these emotional moments. For example, Zuko's Agni Kai is a moment where we learn about the tragedy of Zuko's character and the emotional depths to him. In the live action, it feels rushed, and the audience hasn't spent nearly enough time with the character to feel the weight of this moment. Instead, the show says, well, the audience already knows who Zuko is, so it'll hit the same. They don't have to spend as much time with him because, they already know who he is. We know Zuko, but we don't know this iteration of Zuko yet. Additionally, the entire Blue Spirit sequence was over in the blink of an eye. This isn't anywhere near as important as Zuko's Agni Kai, but again, it's a crucial moment for the character of Zuko that doesn't have the same emotional payoff. Also, the Blue Spirit happens to be one of my favorite moments in the show, and I was just left disappointed. Don't get me wrong, I was thrilled to see an accurate depiction of the Blue Spirit costume instead of whatever this was. But Zuko essentially gets in and gets out. The reveal that Zuko is actually the Blue Spirit, again, suffers because of this pacing. So yeah, the point of this video isn't to hate on the show. At the end of the day, this is a much better adaptation than what we got last time, and there is a lot to like about it. I think when the reviews settle, the show will sit at a low 60s on Rotten Tomatoes, and that's where I think it should be. There are definitely moments in the show where you see the potential that it really has. And I would totally be behind the show adapting the final 2 seasons just to see what they could do. It would be awesome to see Toph in live action. We've never seen that. I mean, imagine the final battle between Aang and Fire Lord Ozai. So if a second season were to be announced, I would be very excited. But I also wouldn't be disappointed if it weren't. And that's my problem with the show. I should be waiting here just at the edge of my seat for the news that it's been renewed for a second season. And I'm not. I'm okay either way. The show walks the tricky line of trying to appeal to a new audience while also maintaining the original audience that it had. At least we're moving in the right direction.
Now use offense on.